tenacious underwater predator. A supersized slimer. A peculiar prehistoric relic. And one of the scariest spiders on Earth. So extraordinary, they seem almost impossible. So mysterious, we're only beginning to understand how they survive and thrive. The more we try to uncover their secrets, the more we marvel at our planet's most incredible animal oddities. They're hairy and massive, armed with pitchfork fangs, venomous bites, and a taste for blood. And when these predators strike, they do more than kill their victims. They liquefy them. Arachnophobes, meet your worst nightmare. The biggest spider on Earth, the Goliath bird-eater tarantula. These terrifying predators reside in the tropical forests of South America, from Venezuela to Brazil. Amateur spider researcher Martin Nicholas has come to French Guiana to investigate Goliaths in their lush native habitats. Here, high humidity and constant rain provide fertile hunting grounds.
It's in the largest and richest and most verdant rainforest in the world. And when prey items, like big insects, grow really big, then the animals that feed on them, the spiders, they grow big as well. Big prey items, big spiders.
Goliaths grow from a tiny speck to a creepy crawler the size of a dinner plate. They outweigh all 40,000 known spider species, making them the arachnid world's heavyweight champions. Goliaths can reach as much as 100 grams, the heft of a hamburger, and their leg span can stretch as long as a grown man's foot, up to 30 centimeters from leg tip to tip. Their diets are expansive too. There are over 900 known varieties of tarantula worldwide. Most feed on bugs. But a 15-centimeter long cockroach is only one Goliath feast of choice. They also have a taste for red meat like rodents. The Goliath is one of only a few spiders able to hunt and feed on meals of fat field mice and rats. Martin studies the Goliath's killer instincts in their native surroundings, hoping to catch them in the hunt. But to observe them, he first lures them from underground layers like a hole or underneath a log. No luck here. But after some more searching, he spots a potential lair.
See if anything actually lives down here.
This time, he's in luck. Meeting a Goliath face-to-face takes nerve. One look, and few can stay calm.
Oh yeah, I can see the tip of a leg.
Tarantulas are some of the most fabled and feared creatures on Earth.
Big spider. See if we can actually tease her out.
Martin's careful to avoid any sudden unwanted contact. A Goliath may go after the stick at first, but agitated tarantulas will bite. Therophotoxic venom causes a Goliath bite wound to swell almost immediately. As the venom spreads, neurotoxins attack pain receptors in the brain, causing sharp stinging, similar to the burn from eating hot peppers. The venom isn't fatal in humans, but it's a nasty ordeal, as Martin Nicholas can attest.
It felt like being stabbed and then a burning sensation. My hand swelled up to almost the size of a boxing glove.
Martin must work carefully to coax the Goliath from its home. But this spider's no fool. Martin could easily be an attacker. To pass as a potential meal, he's got to speak bug. The key is in the vibrations. He must agitate the Goliath's highly sensitive hairs to get it to come out.
They use their central nervous system. All of the hairs, all those long hairs on the legs, are all connected up to that central nervous system so it can feel movement from any direction. She can feel through the soles of her feet the vibrations that I'm making by dragging the stick along the floor like this. And it's that sort of vibration she would pick up from her prey.
Sensing the right vibrations is critical for these burrowing hunters. Goliaths have 8 eyes located on the tops of their heads, but like many tarantulas, their eye lenses only pick up light and dark, recognizing rough shapes only a few centimeters in front of them. Instead, the Goliath relies on its hairy body to feel its next meal.
They use their senses much more than they use their eyesight.
Finally, Martin agitates the Goliath's instinct to hunt. At last, it charges.
God, big spider.
But no sooner than it comes out, the Goliath spurns Martin's trick and retreats. Hunting Goliaths is never predictable. If Martin wants to capture and hold one, he must continue his quest. As the rain dries up, he spies another target. And this one's on the prowl.
Look at this. This is huge. This is absolutely enormous. This is probably a pretty bad idea, but let's prod him a little bit with this and just see what he does.
Martin tries to corral this tarantula. He's got to be careful to avoid scaring it away or forcing it to attack.
Whoa!
He corners it, careful to keep it from charging.
That's a defensive mechanism. That's a warning, and that's a very clear warning. You do it again, I'm going to bite you.
In a swift move, success. He's got a Goliath the size of his hand. Few would dare keep it in their palm.
Look at the size of those fangs. Look at them.
Martin estimates the Goliath's fangs hang down a full inch. He'll only hold the spider for so long. Each second he risks a defensive assault, as the Goliath may try to escape. Martin now taps the spider's hindquarters, hoping to provoke two of its most potent defense strategies. A threatened Goliath first employs a noisy scrubbing motion called stridulation.
The spider rubs very thick set hairs on either side of its jaws, and it rubs these together and it makes a sound like frying bacon.
If marten were an actual predator like a tarantula, hawk wasp, or a bullfrog, this hissing might be the last sound he heard before death. Next, marten incites the male to produce its second defense behavior, a menacing technique called urtication. On cue, the spider releases a cloud of hairy fibers from its abdomen.
The spider rubs its back leg over its abdomen. The back leg is covered in spines. The spines kick the hairs off in a cloud.
Like a haze of fiberglass shards, these hairs can do serious damage.
The effect is like being stung by a stinging nettle or poison oak. It's an irritant. Of course, this is why you see so many Goliath bird eaters with bald abdomens.
But if these two defenses fail in a fight, the Goliath turns to its final tactic: biting.
It will turn to face you, it will raise its two front legs up like this, the fangs come out. I mean, you know what's going to come next. If you carry on annoying this spider, it's going to bite you.
Goliath's bites are actually stabs from jaws built to kill. Most spiders hunt by spinning webs, sticky death traps set for flying prey. But Goliaths hunt up close and personal, wielding special pitchfork-style jaws, common to their spider suborder, the megalomorphs.
The difference between these and the true spiders is that the true spider's jaws work a little bit like pinchers, but the megalomorph jaws work like a pitchfork. They stab downwards like this, and this is how they catch their prey.
Humans recover, but a Goliath bite's a far worse fate to passing prey. It's a punishment fit for a horror film. Once secured, Goliaths use their fangs to inject venom. This potent blend of 65 toxic proteins blocks the victim's nerve signals, freezing it on the spot. And it gets worse. A Goliath keeps injecting its lethal venom into the paralyzed muscles and tissues, disintegrating and digesting them, turning the victim into a drink. Finally, the Goliath uses suction to devour the kill.
And this sucking stomach acts like a vacuum cleaner, and it sucks up all the insect liquid, and that's how it gets its nourishment.
The Goliath bird-eater tarantula, one of nature's most skilled hunters. A hairy predator with a vampire's bite. The world's biggest spider and a truly remarkable animal oddity.
Whoa!
Slimy and huge, it muscles through sand, carving out secret tunnels. Strong and determined, it hunts blind, feeding on dead flesh. And when you least expect it, this hungry scavenger squirms right under your feet. The giant beachworm. Every year, millions flock to East Australia's sandy shores. But as beachgoers frolic above, few realize what slithers beneath. Out of nowhere, they feel a sudden nip. Victims of a blind taste test from one of nature's most gigantic crawlers. No one knows exactly how big they get. Some record specimens have measured longer than a surfboard. An astounding 2.5 meters. But biologists do know the giant beach worm's underground habitat runs along Australia's nearly 6,000-mile eastern coastline. The worm's exact population remains a mystery, but the abundance of giant beach worms poking their heads up at low tide leads scientists to believe millions of these leviathans burrow just below the surface, inhabiting colonies stretching out about 60 meters from shore. Darren Scott's a professional wormer who sells giant beach worms for bait.
Today we're looking for the beach worm. Grab another one.
Most would find these underground slimers less than appealing. But Darren pulls up a staggering 800 a day.
There we go, another nice one.
Still, no matter how good he gets, the giant beach worm remains a worthy opponent for Darren and his fellow wormers. Slippery, strong, and surprisingly sly.
They're very hard to pull out at sometimes.
Giant beach worms only surface when grabbing at food. Anything from algae to seaweed to their more preferred meal, dead and rotting fish. They must be resourceful scavengers to find enough food in this volatile environment of crashing surf. Yet nearly every trait, from the way they crawl, build burrows, and harpoon their prey, helps these worms grow from tiny to titanic.
You can see the worm, there's his head coming up, and we're just giving the worm the bait.
One of their strongest assets is raw strength. It takes tremendous power to muscle through dense sand. Giants live out their several-year lifespan burrowing up and down tunnels stretching just a meter below sea level.
There he is, he's hungry. He's going to take the bait. Down he goes. He'll take it to approximately 6 inches down, where he'll sit there and devour the meal.
They use their heads as battering rams to punch through sand. Cartilage-like rings support and divide the beachworm's powerful upper bodies into dense muscular segments ideal for pushing. And while their rings empower these worms, another trait turbocharges them. Hundreds of bristled legs. Giant beachworms are members of the animal class called the polychaetes, Latin for many bristles. Dozens of broom-like bristles attached to leg extensions called parapodia. Parapodia are powerful tools that act like sweeper oars, helping these mega diggers propel through sand, moving, gripping, or pushing up and down. They also lock up at will, helping to stabilize the worms for hunting and feeding in the sand.
When they lock onto their bait, their legs will be locked. So we have to find out when their legs are at the appropriate position and pull them out at that stage. And there we have polychaete worm.
But the scavenging giant beachworm faces tremendous challenges in this unstable terrain. As tides move in and out, any sudden sand shift could pulverize a beachworm tunnel.
Nice big worm there. Beautiful.
One powerful trait saves them: slime.
Here we've got a slimy. We call these slimies because they have such a large mucus buildup on them.
Slime is a giant beachworm's sand glue. Their skin excretes a constant supply of slimy, sticky mucus. The mucus coats the sand around them, hardening it into a bunker built for one. The adaptation helps prevent collapsing cave-ins.
There he is.
Yet their greatest survival challenge is their ability to find food. Two traits make these worms the ultimate scavengers: pinching jaws and an organ built to taste. Giant beachworms are some of the most sensory-challenged creatures on Earth. Completely blind, with no sense of smell, they rely almost entirely on tasting flavors in the water. Giant beachworms have a collection of tasting organs called nuchal sensors located just below their heads. The worms poke their heads up above the sand, pass water through their nuchal sensors, detect food particles around them, and strike. Professional wormers like Darren Scott entice using pungent bait.
These are just old fish frames we've kept.
Darren lets his bait linger for as long as it takes, but most worm food doesn't stick around long in moving tides. A hungry giant beachworm has no time to waste. It must grab its food fast and pull it to safe cover.
That's the natural cycle. When they get their feed, is to take it down under the sand. There, what they'll do is they'll take it down, they'll eat it there, and come back up for another hit, another feed when something else comes in.
Yet grasping giant worms have no teeth. Their jaws use a different hidden weapon: pincers. These pincers snap out like sharp tongues, spearing their food and pulling it back into awaiting mouths. And these pinching jaws do more than help them feed. They can cause a sudden tingle on a beachgoer's foot. There are no accounts of serious giant beachworm attacks, but the worm's cutting pincer can take a nip at human flesh when it's on the hunt for its intended prey. Stealthy, muscular, and slimy. For wormers, they're a valuable catch. For beachgoers, they're a surprise assailant. But in nature, they remain incredible creatures. Mysterious and silent, slippery and agile. They creep like sloths until it's time to kill. Prehistoric predators, they've ruled for millennia. Now they're doing everything to stay alive. Nature's ultimate survivors. Japanese giant salamanders. They look like mammoth lizards, but they're actually enormous amphibians. So big, they have no known natural predators. So ravenous, they eat just about anything. And these Darwinian superheroes keep a foothold in an ever-changing ecosystem. With one of the animal kingdom's most powerful wills to survive. Japanese giant salamanders live in rivers like all the world's salamanders. But while most salamanders average about 15 centimeters, giants can reach 5 times that and weigh over 22 kilograms, making them one of the largest amphibians on Earth. And giants have existed for millennia. Some scientists call these leviathans living fossils. Shimane University biologist Sumio Okada tracks, tags, and studies the Japanese giant salamander in Japan's Tottori Prefecture or county. He wants to understand how this dogged creature thrives even in a dangerously changing world.
The
river environment that Japanese giant salamanders depend on for their survival is getting worse and worse. So I feel responsible to keep data of this creature for comparison for the future.
Japanese giants can only be found in Japan's northern Kyushu and western Honshu regions. Step into the quiet country town of Nichi-Nancho with its rice paddies and forests, and it's easy to imagine the world centuries ago. But modern industry has taken its toll. Garbage and pollution threaten native habitats. For animals like the Japanese giant salamander, the key to survival is as simple as it is severe: adapt or die. And one enemy looms larger in the Japanese giant's life or death battle: man-made dams. Once, streams ran freely here. Now, dams stunt nature's ebb and flow. Many species, like Japanese eels and sweetfish, can no longer migrate across blocked waterways to feed and spawn, so they founder and die. But one remarkable creature refuses to let even concrete dams stand in its way. Faced with a cement slab, Japanese giant salamanders are so determined they keep crawling and climbing no matter what the consequences, even blood. And this tenacious species continues to find other extraordinary ways to survive against all odds.
I think I can smell salamander nearby.
Sumio plunges waist deep in salamander country. He uses all his senses to track them, even sniffing for the amphibian's signature scent.
It is close to the smell of mint, but Japanese giant salamanders have a smell that only Japanese giant salamanders have.
But smelling one isn't the same as catching one. Giants can make challenging targets. By night, these nocturnal hunters are active swimmers searching for prey. But by day, they burrow inside holes under the water's surface, resting and digesting. These cave-like hideaways jut several meters into the river's rocky embankments, just the right size for a Japanese giant to curl up out of Sumio's reach. Sumio plunges waist deep in salamander country. Sticking your hand in a salamander lair can draw blood. This giant amphibian will strike an attacker or prey with astounding speed.
Bit me? Yeah.
Nearly 300 sharp saw-like teeth tear into flesh, and once Japanese giants bite down, they hang on, twisting their heads and jaws for maximum tearing ability.
Yeah, spinning like an alligator.
Sumio learned his lesson. Now the biologist wears gloves. Japanese giants' teeth make them highly effective feeders, able to eat diverse prey. As a general rule, they're far from fussy.
They eat pretty much anything edible.
One way they've adapted for survival is in how and what they'll eat. As these autopsy photos show, giants once ate mostly fish, crabs, and bugs, occasionally dining on slithering snakes, frogs, or rodents. But in just a few decades, they've gone from nature's gourmet to humans' garbage. Salamanders eat whatever people throw away. Remains of one giant's stomach contents make it clear they'll gobble anything from corn to chopsticks. But this adaptive diet carries a grave danger. Eating human trash can be extremely unhealthy over the long term. Scientists like Sumio and his research team fear the species' very impulse to save itself could backfire and threaten their future. It's another reason he wants to study these creatures in the field, where he can monitor their diet, behavior, sizes, and lifespan. So far, no luck. So Sumio searches in a lower part of the river. It takes several tries. Giant hunting can be frustrating work, even with experience. At last, he feels a huge slippery mass under the rocks. Sumio grabs hold, pulls hard, and loses his leverage. He tries again. Finally, he's got it. With a strong tug, he lands a whopper. It's a Japanese giant salamander 2.5 feet long. Sumio checks one of its most critical body parts, its paws. The giant is equipped with dual-purpose paws built for swimming and walking in water. Only two other species, the Chinese giant salamander and the American hellbender salamander, share the same trait. Their arm-like extensions help them steer, walk, push, or grip onto rocks. Rough calluses help them cling.
Japanese giant salamanders can stick their feet to the bottom of the river. They have no claws, but this non-slip surface helps them to move around.
In nature, these rough, sticky paws provide powerful tools for navigating watery underworlds. But against man-made structures like dams, they can get determined giants into trouble as they attempt to scale the coarse cement and lose their grip. Sumio speculates the giants may be trying to find food or mates on the other side of the dam. Their dam-bloodied paws are disturbing evidence of the real danger these creatures face. Their habitat grows increasingly threatened, and the giants may ultimately need man-made protection. Sumio hopes part of that protection may come in the form of radio tagging. He wants to find a smaller, younger salamander to tag and track, studying it as it continues to mature. Soon, he finds one nestled behind a rock. It's smaller and younger than his first catch. Sumio plants a radio tag using a hypodermic needle for precision placement. This minute radio transponder or signal receiver is barely the size of a pinhead. It will sit directly under the salamander's skin. Sumio can keep track of the tagged salamander from distances over 90 meters. He sends a signal to the transponder embedded in the tag. The tag responds, sending back an ID code. The ID code allows Sumio to record this giant salamander's activities and location over the course of several years. Sumio's cataloged and studied hundreds of salamanders in the last 6 years. He estimates there are only 30 to 50,000 Japanese giants left in existence. Accurate population counts prior to recent surveys do not exist. Still, Sumio's concern and efforts will continue. He hopes his study will reveal more about the Japanese giant salamander. These animal oddities are living links to the past and a testament to nature's astounding will to survive. It swims like a fish, lays eggs like a bird, walks like a reptile, and carries a hidden needle of death. So strange it seems like it shouldn't exist. So incredible it's in a class by itself. Meet one of nature's ultimate transformers, the platypus. 18th century Europeans thought it was a hoax when they first saw drawings of the peculiar creature. But make no mistake, this oddball animal's no joke. It's a one-of-a-kind all-terrain species combining 3 animals in one. And it goes from cute to killer in an instant. At first glance, they make no sense. From their plump furry tails to their broad-billed muzzles, the platypus is about the size of a beaver, but all comparisons end there. Even its name is deceiving. In Greek, platus means flat, and pus means foot. But this strange waddler's no flat foot, its paws are webbed. It's one of only a few creatures that combines traits from birds, reptiles, and mammals. The freshwater platypus lives in only 2 places on the entire planet: Eastern Australia and here, Tasmania. The platypus is actually a throwback, the last surviving mammal in the genus Ornithorhynchus, meaning duck-like snout. This family of hodgepodge hybrids roamed the earth millions of years ago. Yet what makes the platypus truly incredible is how it remakes itself, transforming from swimmer to sprinter, bird imposter to mammal, and back again. But its most terrifying transformation is from docile to deadly. At first glance, the platypus seems mild-mannered. This non-aggressive hunter actually closes its eyes while searching for food, using its broad bill like a homing device. The soft-skinned snout has special sensor organs that send out feeler signals, similar to radar, picking up vibrations from nearby worms and shrimp. But the platypus can become a surprise attacker. Its hidden weapons: sharp spurs located above the heels of its hind legs. Both sexes have these spurs at birth, yet females shed theirs at 3 months. This difference reveals the spur's primary purpose: male-to-male combat. Males use their lethal daggers most frequently during mating season, fending off rivals and showing their dominance. These dueling weapons make them one of the only venomous mammals on Earth. The spur works like a hypodermic needle, injecting a lethal cocktail of over 25 compounds from a toxic gland inside the animal's upper thigh. The sting is excruciating. In seconds, it causes bleeding and burning. Victims like dogs and cats die. Another platypus transformation takes this multi-terrain creature from boat to bulldozer. Underwater, their anatomy makes them powerful swimmers. Webbing on their front paws extends past their claws, expanding the surface area. This highly effective oar pushes the platypus forward, while hind feet steer and tails act as rudders. But on land, the whole apparatus transforms, taking the platypus from swimmer to turbocharged earth mover. Their webbed paws tuck in tight, helping the platypus use their claws to dig dirt fast. Platypus use these digging paws to burrow for shelter along muddy banks. But for females, these powerful paws do far more. They build nests. Perhaps the most unpredictable platypus transformation is from mammal to bird imposter. Some platypus burrows can stretch almost 30 meters, elaborate underground structures built like oversized bird nests. And platypus use these nests to hatch babies. The platypus is one of only 2 mammals on Earth that lay eggs. A female platypus incubates them similar to a bird. The new mother then goes back to her normal mammal ways, a platypus to the core. Weird, wondrous, totally unique. Whether impersonating other species, swimming or digging, docile or deadly, the platypus is one of nature's most incredible transformers, in a class by itself. Immense, striking, and powerfully strong. Bigger than any feline on Earth. Some say it's a super animal. Others believe it's a Frankenstein. Meet an extraordinary hybrid creation, the liger. Nature's complex creations and ingenious adaptations make the planet's most incredible creatures. Yet some human experiments try to outdo Mother Nature, building an animal that defies anything in the natural world. And few human creations are more arresting than this colossal cat. You'll never find one in the wild. It takes 2 captive animals to make one. They're bred in captivity from a male lion and a female tiger. But the liger hybrid is bigger than the sum of its parts. A fully grown liger is larger than both its parents combined, sporting tiger stripes and lion-like manes. But while its African lion father stretches 2.5 meters and weighs 240 kilograms, and its tiger mother reaches 2 meters long and weighs over 130 kilograms, the liger stretches a full 3.5 meters when standing and weighs almost 450 kilograms.
That massive character with these incredibly long bones and thick structure makes the world's largest big cat.
Currently, the only place to find a liger is in captivity, where they're bred at animal parks specifically devoted to raising and feeding them. Traditional accredited zoos do not condone these human hybrid creations. But keeping a grown liger is a colossal and expensive proposition, especially at feeding time. A liger consumes 11 kilograms of raw meat every day. By comparison, a lion averages just over 6 kilograms of meat a day.
Down, 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 down. That's a good boy.
Bhagavan Antle runs the Institute of Greatly Endangered and Rare Species in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Antle's raised ligers here for decades, though the human-made creatures do not officially qualify as a species. He currently has 2 ligers on the premises. Ligers have long been the stuff of legend. Accounts of ligers date back to the 19th century, including a mention in the Guinness Book of World Records. But no verifiable sightings exist of them in the wild. Still, rumors and mythologies of these freakish cross cats persist. Many wonder whether such super beasts could thrive or even survive in nature. In part, the question comes down to a concept called hybrid vigor. Hybrid vigor states that crossbred offspring have stronger health and vitality than their parents. Supporters of hybrid vigor, like Antle, argue that a crossbred animal maintains the best traits of its parents while eliminating many of their negative recessive traits. He claims the liger keeps the strength of its lion father, but has none of its destructive temper towards other lions, and it bears its tiger mother's agility with none of her instincts to avoid social interaction.
The liger is an expression of hybrid vigor. He is larger and stronger and faster.
At first glance, the liger's physical traits are indeed impressive. Ligers have voracious appetites and longer bones and teeth. Their massive heads can grow 40% larger than their feline parents. Yet many scientists insist on a sacred rule. If it doesn't exist in nature, it shouldn't exist at all. In the case of ligers, liger size may be the best indication of the extreme dangers of hybrid breeding. To understand why ligers get so big, we must examine their genes. Ligers, by definition, can only be the result of a one-way breeding combination, a male lion with a female tiger. Reverse the sexes and their offspring would be called a tigon. Tigons fall into the normal size range of their parents. But it's the liger-parent combination that has the makings of a monster. Here's a theory of how liger growth works. Ligers inherit a powerful growth-stimulating gene from the father lion. Normally, the mother lion would pass on a growth-stunting gene to balance it, but the liger has no lion mother, and its tiger mother lacks this inhibitor gene as well.
It is the male lion with the female tiger, and the animal doesn't have the signal to stop growing, and the animal seems to continue to grow for a longer period of time, making him huge.
The result, a hybrid who can outgrow its own ability to stand up. It's a syndrome called growth dysplasia, and it can lead to severe joint stress, hip dislocation, and chronic injuries. And ligers show other dangerous effects of crossbreeding. They're prone to blindness, heart conditions, deafness, and shorter lifespans. And the fact remains, in the wild, lions and tigers keep their distance. With the exception of human-made camps like these, lions and tigers do not cohabitate anywhere on Earth. Lions are grassy plains dwellers confined to Saharan Africa and the Gir forest in India. They are protective social creatures who fiercely defend their prides from outsiders. Tigers are more solitary hunters who thrive in more diverse environments and climates, ranging from India to Siberia to Southeast Asia. It's also highly unlikely that a hybrid liger could survive on its own in the wild. The genetic defects they've already shown in captivity, where they're carefully protected and fed, only suggest they'd meet a tragic fate in nature. In the end, ligers themselves hold the answer. All male ligers are infertile. Though they're born with mating potential, male ligers mysteriously don't reach puberty. This permanent prepubescence makes them effectively sterile. A female liger can breed with other lions and tigers, producing offspring called ligers and ligers, but she can never breed with her own kind. However this man-made hybrid began, it can never continue without more human intervention. In the wild, these animal oddities would cease to exist in a single generation. They're the planet's most amazing creations. So astounding, they defy logic. So extraordinary, they dominate their worlds. Whether mysterious or monstrous, bizarre or behemoth, they never cease to amaze us. The more we try to discover their secrets, the more we wonder at the world's incredible creatures.